thanking God this time for, once again, the ability to reach the end of yet another book of the Bible. And so let's call Hosea chapter 12, heal, as it is going to talk about the way in which God is going to heal his people. Beginning in verse 1, though, it's going to start with a call for them to return to him, as it's going to say, "Return, O Israel, to the Lord your God, for you have stumbled because of your iniquity." Verse 2, it's going to once again extend that call for them to return to the Lord, going on to say that he will take away all their iniquity, or that should be their posture, meaning they should plea, not to hold on to some of the old habits that they've just fallen in love with, but for him to take away all the iniquity so that they can be completely clean. Verse 3 going on to talk about some things that they are willing to give up, meaning Assyria shall not save us. They will no longer look to their alliances for salvation. As we have said in previous prophets, the way in which they were trying to be held down by great powers, regardless of whether or not the things they were doing were right or wrong. Going on, it's going to say, "We will not ride on horses." That has a literal connotation, or a literal context of, I think, coming from the law, where there were times in which God forbid them from riding on horses, not at every point in their lives, but specifically at points in battle. Either way, it seems that they were not going to take pride in the ways that horses could empower their army. And so they're rejecting the temptation to be strong in their alliances with other mighty powers. And then they are likewise, as David said, his power was not in the sword or the bow. The war horse was a false hope. And so here they may be also going back to that part of the wisdom literature where one of their great generals, King David, realized that their power came from God. And so it seems that the people are quite possibly returning to that mindset as well. As the third portion of verse 3 is going to go on to say that they will say no more "our God" to the work of their hands, committing to reject the idolatry that he's been calling them out of. The ESV's second paragraph, beginning in verse 4, says, "He will heal their apostasy." Thus the title, going on through verse 7 to describe the way in which their return will mark a new flourishing, saying they shall flourish like the grain, they shall blossom like the vine, their fame shall be like the wine of Lebanon. Verse 8, however, almost seeming to pause to remind them that, just like we have in our culture the saying, half truth is a whole lie, God does not mix well with myths about idols, reminding us that as we would be justifiably offended by having our good work credited to someone else, God has done the work of essentially saving Israel and looking after them, only to have them essentially write him out of the story. And so this particular rebuke of idolatry may involve God reminding them that in order to move forward with him in a healthy way, they need to stop respinning the story in a way that writes him out of it. As verse 9 concludes, "Whoever is wise, let him understand these things. Whoever is discerning, let him know them. For the ways of the Lord are right, and the upright walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them." Reminding me quite possibly of a few things, but among them, the way in which it can be hard to travel effectively with too much baggage. And just like we have emotional ties to physical things that simply slow us down depending upon what kind of trip we're taking, we can likewise keep some emotional ties to some concepts, ideas, habits, etc., that will never allow us to fully understand God effectively. And beyond watering down our understanding of God, as we have mentioned in the past, one of his names, or the names of the Christ, is Wonderful Counselor. And to the degree we are watering down our understanding of God, we are likewise almost certainly watering down the power of his counsel to improve our lives. As we have seen before, in life, even when we're winning, the winning can feel empty. And so when verse 4 says, "I will heal their apostasy, I will love them freely," he may actually be trying to help us understand how to get out of our own way as we try to move forward more effectively.